I have talked to thousands of individuals within the tech startup space and determined that there are 5 clear and distinct reasons why they almost always fail. And it doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur who's in SaaS, if you're a mid-sized development team building an app, or even if you're in the consulting space as a VC-backed firm. If you have any hope of your business becoming a success, you're going to want to hear this, because not only am I going to share these mistakes, but I'm also going to show you how to fix them. Easy, fast, and with clear actionable steps. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first obstacle is that it's not really clear what problem you're solving. This is the most common one I see time and time again, especially with solo developers. Typically what happens is they'll bring a product to market or a service to market, and they'll list off a bunch of features that hopefully somebody will look at this Swiss Army knife presentation and ultimately buy. But that is going to kill everything moving forward, from your marketing to your sales to even just thinking about scaling this thing. What it comes down to is you need to address a particular problem in the market and actually position your solution as the go-to. This means defining your niche, defining that niche's problems, and addressing them in a way that makes sense to them. At the end of the day, people do not buy features, they don't buy code, they don't buy widgets, they buy what they get as a result of your stuff. They're looking for an outcome. And the way that you want to think about this as a problem solver is basically doing one of 3 things: health, wealth, or relationships. Does it make them healthier? Does it make their relationship with the world, with their clients, with their customers better? Does it make them more money? Those are the boiled down versions, but just pick one of those and stick with it for somebody who ultimately needs this problem solved. Start from the customer or the ideal client that you want to buy this thing and think about it from their perspective. What pain are they going through? What are their likes and dislikes? What have they tried before that didn't work? How can you position your solution as the go-to that will get them from where they're at now to where they want to be? The second obstacle is that you and your customers are speaking different languages. This is very important in the world of technology, because you have high-level knowledge that you need to be able to take, boil down, and translate into something that makes sense to the person that you want to buy your stuff. If it takes an hour or 2 in a Zoom call or a phone call or an elevator pitch for somebody to even understand what this thing is, why it matters, and who needs it, that's a very big problem. Now you need to start speaking like that customer. This is going to be things like targeting their pain, understanding their needs. What outcome do they want? What words do they use? People in your industry might have very, very distinct attributes and distinct linguistic characteristics that they use. And just one slip up can cause the whole thing to fall down like a house of cards. So here's what you're going to want to do. Start to join the spaces where your customers or your ideal customers hang out in. This might be a Facebook group, it might be a LinkedIn event, it might be an in-person networking event, and start to understand what it is they're going through. If you could just focus on using the language that your ideal customer uses, then everything will become a lot easier. Conversion rates go up, you can reduce churn, you can get more users who visit your website to ultimately become paying customers. But if you don't do this, then basically it's very hard to actually grow the business long term, because you're still trying to think about it from your perspective as if you were trying to sell it to yourself. The reality is you are not the person you're trying to sell this to. You're trying to sell it to somebody who is different than you. The third obstacle is that you don't know where your next customer is coming from. What happens is that most developers or tech entrepreneurs or startups tend to think that if you build it, they will come. But this is a bit like opening up a restaurant in the middle of the desert. Nobody's just gonna randomly stumble upon your stuff. You need to actually be proactive about getting the word out and talking about it. If you don't do this, then unfortunately you'll basically either plateau, or more often than not what happens is slowly your users start to go away and the business dissolves. Now, if you don't have a clear lead gen strategy, that is a very, very big problem that you need to solve. What you want to do is switch to a proactive business where you're either running ads, creating social media content, hiring other people to talk about your stuff, knocking on doors, going to networking events. Do something to talk about your stuff. My advice to you would be to build a direct and predictable lead gen strategy. If you haven't already done so though, what I can offer you is click the link in the description or in the pinned comment, and in just 30 days, I will show you how to build a defined lead gen strategy without being a master of marketing and sales. Otherwise, you need to start building your roadmap ASAP, because if you're not getting people to look at your stuff and you're not getting them to actually understand and ultimately take action and buy it, then unfortunately, you are just burning money right now. So work on that above all else if you've already launched your thing, because right now it's most important to actually get people invested in your stuff. The fourth obstacle is that it's very difficult to buy your stuff. When it comes down to it, people will take the path of least resistance. And one small thing that trips up that actionable step and becomes a bottleneck might be the difference between them buying it or not even buying it altogether. What I would encourage you to do right now is map out the entire user journey from start to finish, from discoverability to actually starting to use the application. And map this out in a flowchart visually if you have to. You can fire up Canva, you can write it on a notepad, do whatever flavor is preferable for you, but actually write down each step by step process. And you would be surprised. What are the time wasters? What are the things that don't make sense to the user? Where do they struggle and start to flip their mouse around when they're just signed up for your application and they have no idea what to do next? If it means adding Apple Pay to your Stripe checkout for your SaaS app, if it means having confetti shoot out once they've signed up for it and giving them a nice welcome message, or even if it means just adding another button just below your first CTA after they've signed up so they understand where to go next, so be it. Think about this from the user's perspective. And if you're still struggling to understand it as a developer, as your team, or as the people who actually made the thing, what you can do is find 3 people in your life right now to test this on. Somebody you know and you're close to, somebody who you actually want to buy it, and somebody who's a stranger. Every time you walk through that journey with that person or their team, you will blatantly see where the hangups are, and you will be able to understand why there are some issues. You would be surprised at the smallest things that prevent people from buying. Just bring out that laptop in front of them and you say, hey, go through the process of signing up for my SaaS app, and they instantly start scrolling around, getting confused. You have the first actionable item on how to fix this. The 5th obstacle is that you're still not listening to your customers or users. A lot of times people have told me, I've tried everything. I don't understand why this isn't working. Why aren't people doing X, Y, and Z? Have you asked the people who have already purchased it what they're going through? The people who ultimately have taken the biggest step, which is giving you money for your thing, are a goldmine of information. If you want to know what new features to add, if you want to know what is confusing, if you want to know why nobody has used this new whatever thing you've added into there, then all you need to do is to get these people and understand their needs by actually asking. I know, going back to the socialization thing, I'm introverted myself, but this will save you so much headache, so much time, and so much money because you cut out a lot of the guesswork. Type out about 5 of the most common questions that you want to figure out and get to the root of the problem with. And do this for at least 20 or 30 of your users, just like you did before if you were trying to discover that product market fit or do demand, but now you're doing it with people ideally who have already bought it, who have already sacrificed something by giving you money, and you can understand, hey, you've used my app for the last 2 years. What could we be doing better? What could we be doing faster? What doesn't make sense? What would you like to see? Have you recommended your friends to us? All of these will help you understand where you need to go next. If you're a small tech startup right now, use that smallness to your advantage. It makes you more personable. It shows that you value their opinion, and ultimately your user base or your customers, they will thank you for taking the initiative to see what they want and adapting your skill set or your features or whatever you're trying to implement and directly addressing their needs. It shows that you care. I hope that this video has been valuable to you and that you've been able to take some of this information and implement it into your tech startup. And I do put a video like this out at least once a week, so go ahead and subscribe and make sure to comment below with what you guys are going through or what you would like to solve as a tech founder or tech organization so that I can make content that helps you get closer to where you want to be. But that's all I got for you today. Until then, I'll see you next time.